Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Sprocketforge, which is brought to you by Sophisticated Cerebus Games. It's for 1 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and games generally run about 60 to 90 minutes. Sprocketforge is an engine-building resource management game featuring interlocking gears used to produce mana and complete magical orders for customers. You will take control of a Magitech factory, build up your factory by enchanting gears with magical runes and seals, and vie for the favor of the noble houses. You will add, upgrade, and swap gears in your wondrous factory to create an efficient system. However, mana is messy and clogs up the vents, requiring you to balance earning points with keeping your machine clean. So your goal is a simple one. Build an efficient machine using your magical gears to produce mana, fulfill customer orders, and become the player with the most renown. Right away, I've got to point out these really cool gears. This whole mechanism about you rotate gears and you're going to get mana from the different enchantments that you place inside the gears. So there are rings that you will be acquiring and even swapping out at times to get different types of mana that you're going to need in order to fulfill the card orders that are coming in. That will gain you renown. So it really comes down to how efficient you've made your factory and how well you've enchanted your gears. There are 4 different types of mana in this game. You've got water, earth, air, and fire. These are your resources that you're going to be spending in order to complete the order cards. Now there's 3 different types of order cards. You've got commoner, you've got merchant, and noble. And of course they have different requirements based on their level, so to say. So for the noble, you're going to need more different types of resources, mana, in order to complete those cards. But in general, they're going to give you more renown when you do. And you'll see across the top of each of the different types of cards, that'll show you the reward. So in the case of the commoner, you will spend any type of mana, it shows a wild symbol, and you'll get a new enchantment to put on one of your gears. But there is no renown associated with it. It is the easiest card to pull off, right? So the other cards though, for merchant, you'll see in general there'll be 2 different types of resources, maybe fire, or you'll have a mixture between water and air that you have to fulfill the card. And then across your top of your player board, we'll have a whole icon reference about what type of rewards you're going to get along with the renown. So let's take a closer look at this noble card. In order to fulfill it, you will need 3 earth mana. And when you do, you will get 4 renown. You move up on the score track. And then you have an either or option for a reward. You can either grab one of the enchantments and add it to one of your gears, or instead you can get an upgrade token. These upgrade tokens will slot in the middle of your gear, so you have additional upgrade options, and they do some various things here. One being drawing another order card. So you have some really nice ways to upgrade your factory. The last 2 card types are favor and house. Now favor has hidden renown. You'll keep these face down. You'll start the game with one and you can spend it in order to petition the houses. And the way petitioning the houses work is that you spend that card and you'll check to see how much vented or exhausted mana you have, because each of the houses has a requirement. It might be 0 to 4, it could be 0 to 8, and you'll be able to take advantage of one of those cards by spending that basically and getting the renown that it calls for along with the reward in the middle of the card. Which brings us to the players. Each player has their own factory. You're going to start with 2 enchantments in your gears. You've got your player board, which outlines exactly everything you can do on your turn, and all the icons that you need to reference. And below that will be where you have your order cards that you're collecting and you hope to fulfill in order to get the renown and so forth from them. So those are the basics around what you have for a player. You'll start with some vented mana as well as one of the favor cards. On your turn, there are 4 possible main actions you can take. Now, each one of these main actions will have a follow-up. Basically, all the players at the table will be able to do the follow-up action based on which one that you perform. And there's also a couple free actions that you can do anywhere within your turn, like refreshing a row of cards, or disenchanting one of your wheels, meaning you pull off that inner ring, or any mana that happens to be on it, which is why you would do that, because you will at times be storing mana on the free spaces on the different gears that are enchanted. So turns are going to move pretty quick in this game because you're only performing one main action on your turn. So we have produce, everything your factory is producing. Taking a look at all your gears that you have enchantments on, you'll look at that bottom sector. That will show what you're going to get. So this example here, we're going to get a fire and a water mana to put into our pool. Now every other player at the table will always have the option to rotate their gears to their next sector, or they can perform whatever follow-on action it might be. So here for produce, they'll be able to go and take one of the available mana cubes that are out on the table. So while these actions are pretty straightforward, just like the produce, next we have take orders. If you choose this action, you'll get to take 3 order cards and put them below your player board. Now you can never have more than 5, so you might have to make a tough choice about which ones to keep, but the follow-on for the other players is to draw 1 card from one of the decks. Then we have cleanup. Now you can clean up 3 cubes from your vented mana, but everyone else can take 1 cube from their vented mana and get rid of it. So you start to clean up and not have too many cubes in there in order to do the next possible action, which is petition, spending a favor card in order to petition one of the houses, being mindful of the requirements from your exhausted area on your player board and getting those points and the rewards that the card calls for. Now, the other players, the follow on here, they could spend one of those favor cards as well and follow you by getting the same number of points, but they don't get the reward that the cards provide. So those are the basics of the different main actions you can perform. Again, you can only do 1 of these. Then at the end of your turn, any cubes that you have in your pool, you can choose to vent and fulfill the different order cards. And in doing so, you will get the reward as well as the renown from that card. But those cubes will go to your exhausted area. Now your exhausted area can only have 12 cubes at any one time. And if you try to put more there, you're going to start to lose renown. Then, if you still have cubes left in the pool, you can start to place them in the open sectors of your enchanted gears. And finally, if you still have cubes left over, you have to put them in your exhausted area. And finally, the last thing you're doing on your turn, rotating your gear to the next sector. So those are really the basics of what you're doing in this game. And the goal here, obviously, is to be the first player to reach 30 renown. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now with that said, I really like the tactile experience around these gears and how you have some interesting choices and how you have all the follow-on actions between what each player is doing and how you gain those different resources to fulfill all the different order cards. Some really interesting things going on in this game for sure. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.